I just finished this job and I'd give it a 3 out of 5 in terms of difficulty. Once you start tearing the car apart, you really can't drive the car until it's completely put back together again. So you'll see some tips on some of the tools that worked and some of the methods that didn't really work. So hopefully you can learn something from this video to be able to do it the easiest way yourself. This is the belt we got here, and got some spark plugs for another day. This is the pulley. These are genuine Lexus parts. I really didn't want to go aftermarket because once you replace this, you really don't want to do it again for another 120,000 miles. For the Serpentine belt, I got this kit from Harbor Freight. This thing was only 18 bucks, super cheap, but it basically is just a long bar with some ends, and it's a 14 millimeter for each of the pulleys. Put that on there, crank the tensioner, and the belt should come right off, and they'll slip the new one on. Okay, so the belts are right behind this. It's just a 10 millimeter. Plastic, so it's not going to be very tight. Oh, that's interesting. I keep this blanket back here. It's got to be from the 70s. I'll keep it back here so that I can lay on the floor and it'd be somewhat comfortable. Okay, let's see here. That's the one we're going to put our wrench on, and when we pull it, it should loosen. Okay, I got my 14 millimeter on there. Pull like that, about to there, and then I can just reach my fingers and slip the belt off this main pulley here. Okay, let's try it, just this. Oh man, I don't have any leverage like that. So I've got the 14 millimeter on the bar, and notice I've got still some slack over here, because when you take the belt off, this is going to want to come down to release the rest of the tension. So when I pull here, hits here, I'm going to try to bend it a little around this thing here. There. Okay, this should be enough to slip this off. Yep. Okay, now see how far I had to go in order to loosen it, because now it's going to want to come all the way back. Gosh, it's still not loose. Okay, I'm going to show you a little trick that you're going to need to use. Get an Allen wrench. All right, so you're going to put an Allen wrench in there, right there. Put that in there, and basically it holds the tensioner in place so that you can take your wrench off, and then now you're free to take the pulleys out. I'm going to start with this top one. The bolt comes out on the top pulley like a regular bolt, but the bottom pulley, because counterclockwise loosens the tension, the bolt's going to come out clockwise, so it's the opposite. So just make note of that. Okay, here's the pulley. It's got some interesting washers. This washer actually sits down inside of here. I ended up using two hands to sort of cradle it down, and then with my right finger I felt where the hole is supposed to be, and then just threaded it in, keeping careful that that inner washer is still on there. The other one comes off clockwise, just like that. And it's not all that tight, really. It's like I bought two of the same pulleys here, but then the one I just took off has a different inside, and so it sits out, and that is a problem. So I gotta figure out which pulley this is. Okay, it's now been a week later after I ordered 2 of the same pulley, and the second one ended up not being the right one. And what I learned was that this pulley right here is actually only available when you buy the entire idle tensioner assembly, which is like a $250 part, and I'm not willing to replace. So I went out to try to find another one of these, and I actually found one. But I'm probably going to reinstall the original bolt. I'm going to keep this original just in case I have to reuse it. If, say, a year goes by and this starts to mess up on me. Let's see, and it's going to tighten to the left. Okay, let's look at the old belt real quick. Looking for cracks here, which I don't really see. I mean, for 120,000 miles, it's pretty impressive. I don't really see, I mean, it looks like it's drying out a little bit, but it doesn't really look that cracked. You can definitely see with the new one, it looks almost like fabric. So because when I bought it, it was wrapped up inside this, as a way to just kind of get it to unwind, I just stuck some stuff to make it easier to put on. Now see how it's all rounded already? Let's just decipher this here. If this is the top pulley, this is the alternator, air conditioner, this would be your tensioner pulley, and that's your main drive. That's number 1. Under here, then over here. So I'm on number 3 here, which would be this. Just gotta go over this alternator, which is like right. You can kind of see it. See that right? See it right there? That's the alternator. Just gotta go. Okay, so for the final step, so I've got the belt wrapped everywhere around except for here, which is number 6. I'm assuming that's the one that it wants me to wait on. So you can kind of see the belt sort of loose on that last thing. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually move it over this thing, over here, right there. See, that's how far it is. Let's see here. As you know, I bought this tool from Harbor Freight, which is just a bar with a 3/8 on the end of it. But as you've seen, this doesn't give me enough to actually crank it enough to get the belt over. So really what I need is this extension, which comes with it. And this thing will connect into here and give you a little more leverage. But the problem is this is a 1/2 inch end, and none of the stuff that they gave me includes the 1/2 inch driver. So and then if I use a 1/2 inch socket that I have, it's too big. It sticks out too much, and I don't have enough clearance to put it down there. So you'd need like this, they call this a crow's foot, and you'd need a 1/2 inch crow's foot with a 14 millimeter, and those are hard to come by too. Plus, I don't like having only 2 sides cranking here. I'd rather have a full socket over the bolt, and so that really limits my use for this. Thankfully, I found another tool, and I had to wait a few days for it to come in, but this is a gear wrench tool that has a ratcheting piece with the bar and all of your sockets. So let's take a look at this and see if it works better. Already, I like this packaging a lot better, but the difference in price, this was about 20 bucks, and this was almost 50. It was like $47. So more than double the price, but wow, look at the difference of how much nicer it is. So you've got your 14 here. Here's the 14 that I need, just looks nice and small. And that is so interesting. Look at that, it fits inside. Look at that. Both directions. And then this piece here, this is your bar that goes inside of, and boom, there you go. You got yourself the angle that you need. So let's give this a shot. Okay, so just thought when you pull this up, it doesn't go quite far enough, and so you really need to pull it up and then reset it and then pull it up some more. And so what I did was I rigged some rope here and I tied around this ratchet here so that I can loosen this, and basically, as you can see, the rope is holding it from going back. And so now I can put it forward again. Let's see if that works. Okay, I'll spare you the time. I tried tying the rope here, but I need to go really far, so the rope is not going to work. It's just not going to work. Instead, what I think I'm going to do is use this bar. I'm going to pull it, push this bar down to hold it, and then crank it some more. So let's give that a shot. Okay, so I got it on, totally on. Move this up. I'm gonna take this, jam it in to hold it. I can take this out gently, reset my thing back down here. And now I can go further. So I'll jam this in. Just gotta get it where it doesn't slip. I'll come back down. Go some more. All right, I think that could do it right there. Just so y'all can see how far I had to crank this thing before I was giving it enough torsion. Now I'm gonna slowly let this back. And we're on the belt now. Wow, that was intense. Anything that you have to wind up really springy makes me nervous. That it's just gonna go flingy. All right, so ultimately, I was cranked over like all that way. So just for reference, like I started with it cranked like this, like at that angle, and then I had to go and then reset and go some more and reset and go some more all the way to where I was, looked like 120 degrees from start. So I'd say this thing worked a lot better than the last thing. Now we're just gonna double check my belt patterns, make sure it's in all the grooves. Definitely seems quieter at idle, which is really nice. All in all, this job cost me about $150 in parts and maybe $50 in tools. That's because I opted to switch the pulleys and the belt. If I was just doing the serpentine belt, that's much cheaper. Until next time.